Okay, this one's kind of sad, guys.
God damn, man.
We can do it.
I'll make it funny. Come on, let's go.
I don't think you should.
No, we'll make fun of them. We'll make fun of them. Don't worry.
Sometimes we can be like humans, you know? Sometimes.
Yeah, but humans make fun of things that you're not supposed to. That's human.
To cope.
Yeah.
Or we could just like cry and just like have a catharsis.
Let's have a 12-minute cry episode.
I bet you we'll feel really healthy afterwards.
But I don't want to hug though because of Corona.
No
This
hugging
story-
when you cry?
No, because it's Corona, fool. Social distance.
We gotta socially distance.
We're 6 feet apart.
6 feet from Joe.
The camera makes things look closer than they actually are.
Yeah, we're me and Casey are actually.
It takes
at a
away
far
the
distance.
distance.
We're actually edited in right now.
Okay, wait. No, okay, hold on. Shh. This is a sad story. This is about Chrissy Teigen and John Legend.
Oh.
Why?
That is
Their
sad.
baby.
That is sad.
So sad. Yeah, they lost their baby.
She had a miscarriage, right?
Well, we don't know.
This is why they say don't even reveal that you're pregnant until you're actually fucking good.
That is what I want to talk about. We need to talk about that, but in a second.
Oh, okay.
So Chrissy, she was pregnant with her third baby. Her previous two babies, like Luna and Miles, so they were through IVF. But this baby, who they named Jack, he was naturally conceived, and so,
Not through in vitro fertilization. Thank you.
Oh, that's what IVF stands for.
Yeah.
But even with the other two kids, she did have complications in the pregnancy. But with Jack, her placenta just wasn't working properly.
What do you mean?
So that's where the baby gets nutrients and stuff. And so that, like, it was, apparently she was bleeding a lot before this tragic loss. And so she was going in and getting blood transfusions. And like, she just wasn't able to provide enough blood for the baby. So we don't know if the baby was born a stillborn or if the baby was alive for a period of time and then passed. But the point is, like, she was halfway through her pregnancy, by the way, so she still had the other half to go.
Oh, geez. So she was underdeveloped too, like the baby was.
Just like 4 months in, 5 months in.
Something like that.
So when you have a miscarriage, does that mean that the baby passes inside and then it just like your body goes, it's time to release, man?
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know the exact difference because the stillborn is like when the baby's born not alive. So technically that means that they passed inside too. I don't know what the difference
I
is.
thought it was like
They shouldn't call it a stillborn though. It should be called a not born or something more sensitive.
unborn.
Yeah, that's better.
Unborn sounds very zombie-esque.
It does.
Rain check with a name.
Yes.
Let me check.
Chrissy, she recently posted on her Instagram account these photos.
She's so sad.
There were these photos of the process, and I'll read to you her caption, which is absolutely heartbreaking.
Do you think that they hired a photographer for this moment?
So that's what people are also criticizing.
Well, hold on, right?
Yeah.
Because they didn't assume the baby to pass, right?
Well, that's
Oh, it was early.
yeah. She's halfway through her
Because
pregnancy.
that would make sense where it's like it's a scheduled kind of thing, and then like the photographer was there, and you wanted to get a good close up of that baby popping out of that pussy, and it's like magical moments.
Happy
But
moment.
In this case, they knew that it was a miscarriage.
No. So the thing is, they knew that there were complications. This is all my own assumption, is that they probably had a photographer come in hoping that the baby would survive outside of the womb, and then they can like celebrate the birth, right? Yeah. But then unfortunately it ended up being a tragic moment. And then the fact that Chrissy, like, she's really open with her life. Like, since the beginning, or not the beginning of the pregnancy, but by the time that the world knew that she was pregnant, she was pretty open about the fact that it was a high-risk pregnancy, and she was bedridden to a point where she stopped working, and she was just trying to do her best to do what she can for this baby. So this is her caption.
Can I make a joke real quick?
Okay, fine.
Okay. I just put myself in the photographer's shoes, and it's like, oh my God, they're having a miscarriage. And then she's like, wait, capture this moment. And then he starts going, and he's taking pictures.
Or if it's like I'm taking pictures of Nikki and she's like, oh, now you gotta do a different angle. Like, this is horrible. Like, fucking stand up a little taller and like look down. Don't do this shit where you got me fucking dead on. Don't do that shit.
I know, right? And it's like, how awkward is it?
That's how people perceive it, right? Like, with your perspective, you see it as awkward. A lot of people
It's a cynical view.
A lot of people share that same view, but other people are just like, hey man, like, people grieve differently. People grieve openly, and maybe that gives them closure, whatever it is. And
I don't even think that's wrong. I'm just thinking, how awkward would it be to be that photographer?
You know what's great about this actually is that miscarriages happen all the time, and that she's kind of showing like the pain of it that
That's
people don't see.
That's the positive.
that's exactly like what people are like. A lot of women who have gone through this, or that empathize with other women that have gone through, or what, men and women, they say like, you know, the reason why there's that rule, like going back to what you were saying, how there's like the 3-month rule where you're not supposed to say that you're pregnant because there's always that possibility that you might lose it, and you have to go face the pain of like telling the news that you lost the baby or whatever it is.
And that you jinxed it.
Some people think that you
Because people
jinxed
be
it.
like, dude, you prematurely told, man.
You fucking jinxed it, bro.
Jinxed it, fool.
So then that part, like a lot of people.
People really do think that though.
Yeah. So a lot of people find that mentality is really messed up, because it's like, you know what? Like, miscarriages are a really common thing. Unfortunately, is a really common thing. And the more people like keep it in and like don't talk about it, then the worse it is for a lot of people that end up going through this, because they can't talk about it. They end up grieving in silence, and there's no support, and there's just like it's just a really lonely experience. But I really want to read this caption though.
Well, real quick, for as much as people love to come all over America's healthcare system and say it's the best in the world or whatever, we have like a higher rate of miscarriages and like stillborns and all that kind of stuff than many developed countries do.
Why?
That's an interesting fact, actually. I
Yeah,
didn't
it's
expect
a
America to
sad
have
one.
that problem.
It's a sad
In developing countries?
Than many developing countries do.
Don't we also
Yes.
have way more C-sections than any other
Yes,
countries?
you
as well?
guys. I recommend you guys all watch The Business of Being Born. It's a documentary by Ricky Lake. She breaks it all.
Ricky Lake, I miss her.
Me too.
She had a dope ass talk show, man.
Yeah, dope ass documentary. You should watch it.
I'll watch it.
I really
But I already know that C-sections, they're way quicker, way faster, way cleaner, all that stuff. It's cost efficient, so they push people to do that.
It's more dangerous. That's why more women die.
No, I mean like it's more. It makes more money because the doctors can go
Because
through.
it's just
a
like
lot.
get out. Like
Yeah.
I felt like fucking cattle when I was
Yeah.
getting a C-section.
And then they always recommend it, saying it's better for you and it doesn't destroy your pussy, so
By the
you
way,
should do it that way.
Hairdressers did that to Ricky Lake too in the 90s. They said the bob haircut's going to be great for you. It's going to work for you.
They could just cut it and get it out.
And we'll get it done with. But then it actually was destroyed her entire life and her career.
Because
Just one bad haircut, guys. Just so you guys
he
know.
started the Karen haircut
That's
trend.
all it takes.
Okay, before I read this caption, let me give you some statistics. So it says in the United States, about 10 to 20% of known pregnancies end in miscarriage.
My cousin had like a lot, but she has 3 kids now.
Yeah, also, the country records about 26,000 stillbirths every year, meaning that 1 in 160 pregnancies that last at least 20 weeks ends with the death of a baby before delivery. That's what that means. So,
Is there a reason why like our country is worse when it comes to like keeping the baby alive?
Our healthcare system is hyped up, bro. It's not as sick as everyone
Our healthcare
likes
system?
to say it is. Yeah.
Well, is it because it's like prenatal sucks, or like what is it that's killing the babies, or is it the mom's health? Is it like because
we have multiple.
I think it's so expensive that a lot of people who are in fucked situations, they can't go to the doctor for all this prenatal, all this shit. They can't go for all the like work that has to get done beforehand and like making sure everything's on track. They go when it's too late. And so then when they're delivering, they're already in a situation where they didn't have the right vitamins and all kinds of shit to help the baby grow and all that stuff. So they're just going because it's an emergency and they have to deliver. And so that's why.
so other countries that are considered like more broke than we are just have better like
Other countries that aren't killing it economically like we are, quote unquote, right? Like they have like a healthcare system that lets them go to the doctor anytime because they don't have to worry about the crazy bills. Because everyone knows if you go to the doctor here, you're gonna get a huge bill.
you go there and you go, oh man, my elbow hurt a little bit, and you have a bill for like $2,000.
Exactly. Or you break your fucking arm and it's like a couple grand or
How
whatever.
about when you let the doctor touch your balls, and they should be paying you,
Yeah.
but you end up paying them?
I've always wondered that one.
Yeah, they even ask you to cough.
Yep.
So they get an extra.
It's like, man, you got to fucking touch my balls, dude. You should be paying me.
Okay, well, let me bring it back. And I want.
Should they be paying us though to touch our balls?
No, I wanted to read this caption. It says, We are in shock and in the kind of deep pain you only hear about, the kind of pain we've never felt before. We were never able to stop the bleeding because she said it was like a water faucet, like slowly leaking. Like that's how much.
Fuck.
And then she says, we were never able to stop the bleeding and give our baby the fluids he needed. Despite bags and bags of blood transfusions, it just wasn't enough. We never decided on our babies' names until the last possible moment after they're born, just before we leave the hospital. But we, for some reason, had started to call this little guy in my belly Jack. So he will always be Jack to us. Jack worked so hard to be part of our little family, and he will be forever. To our Jack, I'm so sorry that the first few moments of your life were met with so many complications, which makes it sound like he was born alive, that we couldn't give you the home you needed to survive. We will always love you. Thank you to everyone who has been sending us positive energy, thoughts, and prayers. We feel all of your love and truly appreciate you. We are so grateful for the life we have, for our wonderful babies, Luna and Miles, for all the amazing things we've been able to experience. But every day can't be full of sunshine. On this darkest of days, we will grieve, we will cry our eyes out, but we will hug and love each other harder and get through it. She ended up tweeting out too something along the lines of like, leaving the hospital without a baby is like...
I saw that one.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
You know,
but I just think that the naming is unfortunate because when you say, I didn't have Jack, like that's
It's like a loss.
that's crazy.
It makes it a little deeper.
That's crazy.
I was actually just listening to. I
was good.
I was with my girl listening
Asshole.
to.
I have to try.
right?
I don't know, it was an IG story or something like that where she was actually talking about it a couple days right before.
No, she had been open.
Yeah, she was open about it, and I was just catching what she was talking about. She was very open. She was talking about how she was bleeding, but that the baby was still okay.
Yeah.
And then it was like literally like 2 days later that I had heard this news. And it is just so interesting to be, because obviously I don't know her as a person, but to be like aware of somebody's, I guess what we would consider
Journey.
in society, yes, such a personal journey and experience, and then obviously to even like have it end in heartbreak. It does touch on that theme that we were discussing earlier about like people being more open about like these types of things that happen so commonly to women, because like this is even the idea or the conversations of miscarriage is like so taboo even amongst like your closest friends, you know what I mean? So even as a male, I don't even know how to reach out to certain people that have experienced it to like ask them about it without thinking that maybe
Right, it just feels insensitive, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel the same thing. But this article here is from the Washington Post. It's actually pretty helpful. It does give advice on like how to be there for someone that you know that is going through this. So I recommend you guys read it. It like you just never really know like like I want to be there for you, but I don't know. I don't want to do the wrong thing. So you kind of end up feeling paralyzed. But
When I was a kid and my cousin had a miscarriage and she had like a lot, every time she did, I was like, oh, are you gonna try again? I want another nephew.
yeah, that's one.
I was a kid.
No,
like I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
But grown adult people say like, oh, it's okay, don't worry, you'll get over it. Just keep trying. Like that's not helpful.
Yeah.
not.
They don't know what to do though.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, because think about, dude, and not to get too serious, but when you think about her going through all of this, you find out you're pregnant. Like you go through the whole thing, you're doing all this shit, and then at the end of it, like you don't get to meet the kid. Like that's horrible.
So heartbreaking. But honestly, people are calling Chrissy and John like heroes for being outspoken about their grief because it is helping a lot of people that are also going through this and helping them feel less alone.